Good day. We'll be discussing authentic assessment in the classroom. Now, I think it's very important when we are discussing the this type of assessment. I think it is very important to look back on the different principles of assessment. Let's try to look at here high quality assessment in retrospect. Now, when we say retrospect, ibig sabihin ito ay pagbabalik tanaw. Let's go back to those moments, parang ganoon po. Okay. Now, in assessment, we do actually have different principles of high quality assessment. Okay. Now, yung mga, when can we say if the assessment is high quality? Okay. Now, take note, everyone, that assessing the performance of every student is a very critical task for a classroom teacher. And I think this one is very important to understand that our teachers are not just there to teach, but of course, you also have to assess the learnings of our estudiante, right? And then, why is it considered as a very critical task for classroom teacher? It is because it is not easy to to look at the performance of the learners. We're not just simply looking at the numbers, no, we're always looking at the reason behind those numbers, no, sa result ng ating assessment. Okay, so when we are to judge them, we have to make sure that judging them is based on on different principles, like, or you are doing the assessment in a very technical manner. Okay, because we understand that if our students or our teachers really made tests, you know, to identify or determine the performance of our learners, therefore then whatever the result of that assessment is really valid, right? Now, teacher-made tests are developed by a classroom teacher to assess the learning progress of the students within classroom. Okay. Now, although the problem when it comes to teacher-made tests, they lack technicalities. No, when we say they lack technicalities, everyone, this is now the part wherein our teachers do have that, o ibig sabihin, they do not follow the technicalities how to write the or to construct tests, okay, or questions perhaps, or considering the technicalities when it comes to the options, no, for the multiple choice, for example. Okay, so again, its weaknesses are limited time and resources for the teacher to utilize the test, and also some of the technicalities involved in the development of the assessment tools. Okay, for example, kung nagpapaquiz ako, ang ginagawa ko lang naman dito ngayon ay, like, for example, right after the discussion, I would tell you that, okay, everyone, I'll be giving you 5 minutes to review your notes. Okay, I will be giving you a quiz right after 5 minutes. Now, during the 5 minutes, si teacher doon pa siya gumagawa ng questions. Okay, although the problem here, although teacher-made tests really lack technicalities, but I think the strengths of a teacher-made test lie on its applicability, no? Applicability, and then of course relevance in the setting where they are utilized. So bakit natin nasabi that um, its strengths lie on its applicability and relevance. Now, when we say relevance, everyone, ibig sabihin, whatever the type of questioning or kung ano man yung laman ng questions, no, na ginawa ni teacher, those are parallel to ano yung diniscuss. Okay, so that's relevance. At the same time, again, if we're considering also the content of the test, no, based on na diniscuss ni teacher kanina, ibig sabihin andun yung tinatawag natin na applicability. Now, if in an assessment, we only have to consider some factors for you to consider that these tests it can still be acceptable without any technicalities. Okay, so again, it doesn't mean that teacher-made tests lack technicalities, no? Ibig sabihin ngayon ay hindi na siya pwedeng gamitin. Okay, they can still be used because ang strength nga ng teacher-made test ay nasa applicability and of course relevance in the setting where they are utilized. All right. Now, test constructors believe that every assessment tool should possess good qualities. Now, again, sinabi nga natin that one of the crucial tasks of being a teacher here is of course to evaluate or to assess our learners. Now, since that is really our main or sole main purpose or one of the main purposes, therefore then it is very important that our assessment tool should possess good qualities, right? Because we are considering here we are evaluating here the performance of our learners. Now, therefore, it is quite imperative. Now, it is really imperative that our assessment tool should really possess good qualities. Now, validity and reliability are considered to be the most common technical concepts in assessment. Okay? And I think na narinig natin siya even nung nag-CP 105 pa kayo. Okay. Now, assessment should be carefully developed so that it may serve whatever purpose it is intended. So it may serve whatever purpose it is intended. Ibig sabihin, this is validity. And then when we say the test results will be consistent with the types of assessment that will be utilized, most probably this is reliability. Okay. Now again, sinabi natin that validity and reliability are considered to be the most common technical concepts when it comes to assessment. Now, of course, when we are to look at and consider a high quality assessment, of course we really have to look at the clarity of the learning target. Writing your learning target or writing your learning objectives is also crucial. It's very important because doon kasi tayo na humuhugot sa lahat ng bagay, right? Please take note that when you are to decide whatever methodology that you're gonna use, we always fall to whatever written on our learning objectives, right? So the same case with our assessment. Okay, now we can think of proper assessment tool. We can think of whatever type of assessment yung gagamitin natin based on the written learning target. So when a teacher plans for his classroom instruction, the learning target should be clearly stated and must be focused on student learning objectives rather than teacher activity. Okay? So klaruhin talaga natin yan na kung ano yung isusulat natin ngayon, everyone, it should be more on dapat i-manifest ng estudyante. Okay? When we say manifestations, everyone, it should be overt. No, it shouldn't be covered. Right? It shouldn't be implicit. It should be explicit. Now, the learning outcomes must be SMART. Now, please take note of the acronym SMART. No, S stands for specific, M stands for measurable, okay? And it always follow, and I always believe, everyone, that if you will be writing specific learning objectives, ibig sabihin, there is a chance that it can be measured, okay? Now, if it is measurable, therefore, then it also says that it is specific. Okay. Now, if it is measurable, it is attainable. Therefore, then it is measurable. Okay. So, meron po silang relasyon itong mga different letters po natin sa acronym po natin na SMART. Now, the performance task of the student should also be clearly presented. So, kung ano talaga yung gagawin ng bata. No? The teacher should also discuss clearly with the students the evaluation procedures, the criteria to be used, and the skills to be assessed in the task. Now, it is very important, especially for high-quality assessment, kung ano ba talaga yung purpose ng evaluation. Okay? At saka kung ano yung content na ng evaluation to. Like for example, if there will be role-playing, diba, before pala magsisimula ang role-playing or prior to the execution of role-playing, dapat alam na ng estudyante kung paano sila gagraduhan. Di ba yung mga teachers natin, nagpapakita sila ng isang rubric. And then to the point that even yung rubric ay dinidiscuss din ng teacher. You know? Like for example, okay everyone, meron tayong rubric dito. This is how you will be graded with your role-playing. And then dinidiscuss pa ni teacher lahat ng criteria. No? And then even doon nakasulat, like for example, if it is an analytical rubric, even dong nakasulat na description ay binasa ni teacher para merong tinatawag na clarity din ng mga estudyante sa side ng mga estudyante. Now, let's try to look at here principles of high quality assessment in terms of appropriateness of assessment tool. Now, una, the type of test should always match the instructional objectives or learning outcomes. And I think that is not really a problem in our case, right? So I think meron tayong idea that if this is the written learning objectives, good po or ito din po yung gagamitin din natin na assessment tool. Okay? And then teachers should be skilled in choosing and developing assessment tools. Dapat very well adept ang teacher kung ano yung kaibahan ng different types of assessment tool para alam din niya kung ano yung dapat na assessment tool na gagamitin for this particular purpose of this lesson. Now, let's try to look at first the first type of assessment is the objective test. Okay. Now, when we say objective test, everyone, ibig sabihin, may pagpipilian. Okay? Now, the word refers to the scoring. Now, bakit sinasabi dito na the word objective refers to scoring? It is because everyone, kahit sino pa yung mag-check ng paper, the same pa rin yung makukuha nila na score. Okay? Like for example, we have student A, B, C, D, E. No? And then ang ginawa natin ngayon, everyone, si student A, ni-reproduce natin or gi-photocopy niya natin yung test paper niya na may sagot. Okay? And then ipapacheck natin sa student B, C, D, E. Okay? So what our expectation here, because this is an objective test, is that if student B would give 99 over 100 na score si student B, ibig sabihin, we would expect also that yung susunod na mga estudyanteng nabanggit natin, the same din yung score na ibibigay nila para kay student A. Okay? So, ibig sabihin, dapat yung apat na students, yung apat na remaining students, the same score yung makukuha nila if we're going to look at the reference point given by student B. Okay? Kasi ang sabi ni student B, ito yung score. So, dapat the same siya. Okay? So, bakit nangyayari yun? Like, for example, binanggit dito sa objective test yung multiple choice. Okay? Now, in the multiple choice, if number one is, the correct answer for number one is letter A, you cannot find yourself in the contemplation wherein if you hate the student, sabihin mo na, wrongan ko nga ito. No? Hindi pwede. Kasi klaro kasi that number one, for example, ulitin ko, number one, ang correct answer is letter A. So whether you like it, you like the person or not, kasi letter A yung sinagot niya, therefore din check natin siya. So ibig sabihin, kung hindi letter A yung sagot niya, B, C, D yung sagot niya, ibig sabihin mali siya doon. Okay? Ayan. Now, another we have is subjective test, and this one is very or quite opposite, no? Most probably very opposite to subjective test. Objective test, very opposite, no? When we say subjective test, dito natin marinig yung sinasabi ng mga kilala natin or malaking siguro, malaking tao na sa atin, okay? Our elders, no, or ganon. And then even sa balita, I think narinig ko na to, no? Now, when we say subjective, sabihin doon nga, ang subjective mo naman, okay? Pag sinasabi natin subjective, everyone, ibig sabihin, iyan yung rason bakit meron tayong iba't ibang definition ng love. Okay? Because the concept of love is really subjective. Okay? Ibig sabihin, nagre-require siya ng original idea from each person. Okay? Kaya nga natawag natin siyang subjective test. Okay? Na permits the student to organize and present an original answer. Okay? Like for example, ganoon. And then next item we have, it includes either short answer or long before question. So short answer talaga siya. Okay. And then this type of test has no specific answer. So since no specific answer siya, ibig sabihin mas prone siya to biases. Most especially kung nabanggit niya yung mga reasons about like that. Okay? Therefore then everyone, when we say subjective, ibig sabihin it whatever the principle of the reader, it could affect no yung scoring niya. Now, please take note, everyone, for us to eliminate this kind of biases, like the external biases, we always have to have a rating sheet or a rubric for you to score or for what do you call that? I mean, your basis on scoring the essay, for example, para hindi siya magiging bias talaga. Kasi technically speaking, kahit pa meron problema tayo with the person, okay, we cannot still judge the person based on our personal what do you call this personal na look out sa isang tao. Okay? Kasi perhaps gusto mo, hindi mo siya gusto, hate na hate mo siya. Pero on the other group naman, hindi naman, okay din naman sa kanila. Okay? So that's why again, subjective test, when it comes to it, ito yung mga short answer or long general questions. Okay? So that is for subjective test. Next term we have is performance assessment. And performance assessment is, I do not know, but it is a little bit, um, what do you call this? Um, Clear. I mean, a little bit, siguro, exhausting, no? But that is not really, but that is now our trend kasi. Now, performance assessment, they use the term performance assessment as the same, what do you call this? Parang the same with authentic assessment. Okay, meron silang the same characteristics, kaya meron din po itong mga iba't ibang pangalan yung tinatawag nating authentic assessment ngayon. Now, students are asked to perform real-world tasks. No? Kapag sinasabi talaga nating performance assessment, everyone, ibig sabihin, they have to perform real-world tasks. Yan talaga yung parang um, idea doon, right? Okay. Now it can measure learning objectives which focus on the ability of the students to demonstrate skills or knowledge in real life situations. Okay? Now like for example, kung gusto nating matest kung meron bang nalaman ang bata about konsepto ng profit, for example, no? So papagawa natin sila ng business plan and then they're gonna implement it. Okay? So you see there is that an explicit demonstration of skills and knowledge in real life situations. So it's very important. So yun yung performance assessment. It is or quite exhausting. But then you, at the end of the day, if you're gonna implement this, it's all worth it because there is that what do you call this? Better understanding and probably, no? So pag exhaust natin ng konti, baka meron pang high level of retention because of that. Because our idea here is that if our students really learn something and then they realize that these things are important to real life situations, mas lalo nilang iintindihin at na maiintindihan yung lesson. Okay? Another we have is the portfolio assessment. Now take note in your portfolio assessment accordingly. This assessment is based on the systematic longitudinal collection of student work created in response to specific known instructional objectives and evaluated in relation to the same to the same criteria. Now, portfolio assessment, everyone, is very important, no? Because if we're going to look at the academic journey of our learners, dito natin makikita sa portfolio assessment. Okay? Now, this is a systematic longitudinal collection of student work. Ito yung mga panahon na remember natin na yung teacher natin ay one of our requirements then is to bring like a folder, a transparent folder wherein our outputs, no, yung mga scores natin sa mga quizzes, exams ay nilalagay natin doon. So that's portfolio assessment. Now, yung portfolio assessment ay ginawa because of some specific reasons and purposes again. Next, one of the common type of what do you call this of assessing our learners is what we call oral questioning, no? Collecting assessment data by asking questions. And this one, if we're gonna perfect if you can perfect oral questioning, magiging interactive yung klase mo. Now, the most commonly used of all forms of assessment in class, now specifically oral questioning belongs to during instruction. It is actually a type of formative assessment. No? Now, the ability of the students to communicate orally is very relevant to this type of assessment. And this is a form of formative assessment, as I did mention a while ago. Another example we have is the observation technique. Now, there are two types of observation. No? Now, the teacher will observe how students carry out certain activities, either observing the process or the product. Now, there are two types of observation techniques. You have formal and informal observations. Ang pinakaklaro lang na difference ng dalawa ay yung formal ay pinaghahandaan and then meron siyang rating sheet. No, meron siyang ini-expect later na magiging resulta. Okay, that's what we mean by formal observation. When we say informal observation, so nangyayari ito sa day-to-day na um, pag-observe ni teacher sa mga estudyante niya. Like for example, sa mga advices niya. Okay? So, hindi po kailangan pagpreparahan and then wala din pong kakibat na grado. So, that's what we mean by informal observations. Okay. Next is self-report. Now, this response of the students may be used to evaluate both performance and attitude. Ito yung tinatawag po natin self-report. If I'm not mistaken, itong self-report, parang dapat ginawa siya ng DSA sa inyo, no? Yung meron pong mga psychology majors or meron pong psychometrician na degree. Okay.
Now, other concept of introspection naman yung tinatawag natin, we also have here for a while, right? Now, we also have here different aspects of high quality assessment in retrospect, okay? Now, we are trying to look at here the purpose of assessment. We have here targets, methods, sampling, and accuracy.
Again, take note everyone that high quality assessment provides feedback to improve student learning. And I think that's the main reason why we have to have that characteristic of high quality assessment, okay? Because we want to make sure that we provide quality feedback to our students. Another one we have, it is an ongoing process that helps instructors adjust their teaching. Now, if you could still if you can look at now the two bullets, it seems to say that we're talking about the two main purposes why we are assessing our learners. Okay, first of course is to give immediate feedback or prompt feedback to the performance of our students, and then the second bullet talks about um, the improvement or adjusting the quality of teaching no, na ginagawa ng teacher. Alright? And then let's try to look at here the purpose of assessment. Now, assessment for learning as and then of learning. Now, there is that particularity or specificity sa different purpose of assessment. Meron tayong assessment for learning that is, according to them, it's more informative because it provides feedback to improve student performance. Okay? And then when we say assessment as learning, encourages self-assessment and learning strategies. It is more now on, what we call this, reflection. Okay? More on metacognition, the self-reflection na tinatawag. No? So, assessment of learning or summative, evaluates student performance against standards. Okay? Kaya nasabi natin na para siyang summative no, na type of assessment. Now, when it comes to the targets, no, first we have is, remember, we have different domains of learning. Therefore, then it follows na meron tayong different targets. Ang una nating tinatawag is yung tinatawag nating learning target. Okay? Now, what students know and do, and it's stated in observable terms. No? Now, there are 5 categories of learning targets. We have knowledge learning targets, we have reasoning learning targets, we have skills learning targets, product learning targets, and dispositional effective learning targets. If we're going to look up the 5 learning targets, parang nakikita natin dito yung 5 domains. Yung 3 domains of learning. Okay? Knowledge learning targets and reasoning learning, most likely that is your cognitive, no? And skills and product learning, that is your psychomotor. And then number 5, that is your affective domain. Okay? Now, another is cognitive target, so mental processes involved in learning. They guide how students acquire and use knowledge effectively. Now, again, this one talks about, since we're talking about cognitive target, therefore then, it is very clear that we can talk about the Bloom's taxonomy here. Okay? So, dito, ito yung old na Bloom's taxonomy. We have knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis. We have synthesis and evaluation. Now, take note everyone na meron na tayong bagong meron tayong tinatawag na revised Bloom's taxonomy. Knowledge becomes remembering, comprehension, understanding, application, that's applying, analysis, that's analyzing, synthesis na becomes creating, and evaluation becomes evaluating. Okay? Now, on our assessment methods, ito lang yung sa mga ilan sa marami pa. Now, we have written response instruments, we have product rating scales, performance tests, no, then oral questioning, and of course, observation and self-reports. Now, this one I think is quite understandable naman because parang ang dami ng itong mga assessment methods na ito nabanggit na ata ito ng iba't ibang professors ninyo. And then when it comes to sampling techniques, we have 4 basic sampling techniques here. We have simple random sampling. Ibig sabihin, we give equal chance for all. Okay? And for example, meron tayong, I have 30 students, no? And then ilalagay ko yung mga pangalan lahat doon sa isang container, and then I'll be calling them randomly. So that's a simple random sampling. So meaning to say we give equal chance for all.
And then systematic sampling. So every ninth participant, ibig sabihin, every, like for example, I'll be getting the names every third on the list. No? For example, every third count. So, yung estudyante, alphabetical for example, and then kukunin mo ika-third. So, 1, 2, 3. So, yung pangatlo, kukunin mo na naman. Kasali siya sa participants. And then 4, 5, 6, yung pang-anim, because third siya sa listahan ulit, siya yung kukunin. So, every nth participant, I mean. And then a stratified sampling is based on shared characteristics, no? Especially if we're going to to specify our characteristics. And this is a little bit different when it comes to cluster sampling. Kasi yung cluster sampling kasi, you just have to select groups instead of individuals. So for example, buong MSU, ang kukunin ko lang doon ay babae na yung religion ay Islam. Okay, so yun lang sila. Okay, so that's cluster sampling. And the next we have is the accuracy and assessment. Okay, we have different factors here. Of course, it follows the clear purpose. It's very important. And then we have to define the learning targets. And then we choose appropriate methods. And then representative sampling, kung anong gagamitin doon. And then another one is the avoiding bias. Now, to avoid bias, we have to make sure that yung validity and reliability ay andoon. Okay, so these are the key elements that contribute to accuracy and assessments. All right. Right after we have is let's try to look at what is really authentic assessment. Okay, so we're done talking about the 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 recall of other elements of assessment. Let's try to look at really what is authentic assessment. Now, when we are discussing, the definition of authentic assessment, I think it is nice to look at the different people, behind this also. Okay, they contributed on this. No? We also have, of course, we have Chan Dewey. Now, according to Chan Dewey, learning by doing. Then according to Chan Dewey, if our learners really involve themselves into the discovery of learning, okay, they can learn best and they can learn better. Okay, and then when we say Grant Wiggins, practical value and relevance of knowledge and skills, okay, ibig sabihin, it is very important not just limit our students to knowledge level, no, dapat andun yung skills. Na pag sinasabi natin yung skills, everyone, ibig sabihin, we let our students dive, no, sa lesson, and then of course they learn from them. They learn from their own discoveries, somewhat like that. Okay, and then we also have here John Miller, apply knowledge and skills in meaningful ways. Now, pag sinasabi natin meaningful ways, ibig sabihin we will apply knowledge and skills in real life context or meron siyang katuturan sa totoong buhay. Okay. Now, there are four nature of an authentic assessment. We have evaluation process. We have real world task, of course. Realistic judgment and innovation, it's very important. And of course, yung tinatawag nating students' performance at the end of the day. No? Dapat talaga right after that, there is that a part of your assessment wherein the students would really have to demonstrate their knowledge. Okay? Okay, now we have here the characteristics of authentic assessment. So we have, of course, to define clear and definite criteria. So starts with clear and definite criteria for students. It's very important that when there is a performance task or an authentic assessment, you have to make sure that you describe and discuss the content of the criteria to your students, and you let, of course, your students understand it, no? Because and at the same time, your criteria, it's not, what do you call this? It's not rigid. Ibig sabihin, during the time that you discuss it, at some point, there are students that would comment na, Sir, baka pwede ganito lang muna, Sir, pwede po ba natanggalin ito na part, no? Kasi po, ang focus po ng activity natin ay ganito. Next we have is the criterion reference. Now, criterion reference rather than norm reference. Now, since we're talking about here authentic assessment, ibig sabihin, our task here is to make sure that we attain the different criteria. Okay, so ibig sabihin, everyone, the performance now is we are leaning now away towards criterion referencing of interpretation. Okay, wala na tayo doon sa norm referencing kasi norm referencing is more on comparing the performance of your students among students. Okay, your student among students. So this time we are now dealing with um, how the student can attain the criteria given by that activity. Okay, and of course we also have to make sure that our authentic assessment ay meron siyang tinatawag na HOTS or higher order thinking skills, no? So requires students to make their own answers to questions. So kaya nga tinatawag siyang authentic kasi we allow students to give their original responses based on how they understood the lesson, for example. Okay? And then, of course, demonstration emphasizes performance that requires the students to demonstrate their knowledge, skills, and competence. Yun naman talaga yung gusto mangyari ng authentic assessment, that there is that overt and explicit demonstration of knowledge, no? Yung nakuha nila from that activity. And then another characteristic is students and teachers' progress. Encourages both teacher and students to determine their rate of progress. So dito natin malalaman along the way kung yung progress ng bata kasi in the authentic assessment kasi feedbacking is very important. Okay? Now take note everyone in assessment if we give proper feedback, ibig sabihin it could improve the teaching learning process. It could improve both the students and of course the teacher. And then integrated knowledge does not encourage passive learning. Instead, students are required to show their ability to integrate what they learn. Okay? Ibig sabihin, everyone, when we say integrated, meron tayong tinatawag na integrated approach wherein different context ay ginamix po natin. So for example, in science, we are, of course, the language there that they are using is English. So doon natin makikita everyone yung ability ng estudyante in discussing this particular lesson using the English language. Okay? So although the subject is science, but then again, they are using English language as a medium of instruction. Okay? Or yung knowledge ko sa paggawa ng website, and then at the same time, ako ay isang biology major. So, since alam kong paano mag-create ng website, ang ginawa ko, lahat ng research ko sa biology, instead na nilalagay ko siya sa paper, for example, or gina-print ko siya, pinapublish ko siya online, no, through websites. Okay? So that's integrating knowledge. And then we also have the last one is active and involved participants. And I think this one, ito naman yung main characteristics din ng authentic assessment. No? We don't allow passive learning because again, based on the definition of John Dewey, learning by doing. So dapat ang estudyante will let our students explore and of course discover learning or knowledge. Okay? Sila dapat, no? Next is the related terms of authentic assessment. Ito yung mga nabanggit ko kanina na meron silang similar terms. Similarity when it comes to terms. No? In related terms of authentic assessment, we have performance assessment. No? Examples of reporting, making of poems, and these are performance assessment. Now, again, when we say performance assessment, we give real-world tasks to our learners. Another we have is the alternative assessment. So another term is alternative assessment. If we're going to look at the examples there, this is also somewhat the same project based, and of course, taking aback or taking into consideration the whole picture of authentic assessment. And then the last one is direct assessment. Bakit natin siya tinatawag na direct assessment? Because we can see directly the manifestation of learnings from our students agad. Okay? So that's why tinatawag natin siyang direct assessment examples. Direct assessment, I mean. And the question, why use authentic assessment then? No? Apart, of course, alam na natin yung mga characteristics niya. So why use authentic assessment? Because authentic assessments are direct measures. Ibig sabihin, nakikita talaga natin sa mga estudyante yung natutunan nila. No? So authentic assessments require students to apply what they have learned. And then authentic assessment reflects the constructive nature of learning. When we say constructivist, ibig sabihin they do what they do. Like we allow our learners to explore and discover knowledge, no? And then of course we're trying to look at here prior experiences of what we're learning, no? So ibig sabihin they dive sa mismong learning, they discover, no, and they explore using prior knowledge or experiences ng bata. Okay? And that's what we mean by constructive nature of learning. Number 3, authentic assessment integrates teaching and then learning and assessment. Ito naman tinatawag natin na authentic assessments combine learning and assessment because take note that feedbacking and authentic assessment is very important. So constant giving of feedback is of course part of assessment. Okay? Siyempre, prior to feedbacking, there is an assessment. So integral part na siya ngayon ng authentic assessment. There is no such thing as separation. Like for example, discuss natin and then later ang assessment. Meron talaga siyang proper delineation. But in authentic assessment, we combine both learning and assessment. Okay? We learn from whatever assessment na makukuha natin through feedbacking. Okay? And then, authentic assessment provides multiple ways to demonstrate learning. Ito naman talaga ang kagandahan ng authentic assessment, no? Because we allow our learners to demonstrate their learning based on their comfortability. Okay, so we give too much freedom to them kung paano nila i-demonstrate yung learning. So, hindi lang ito limited. Like for example, in traditional assessment, like they demonstrate the learning through a paper and pencil test, and then that is now our sole basis, no, to evaluate and assess our students. No, in authentic assessment, there are a lot of ways. No, they can role play apart from paper and pencil test. They do exhibit. They do like this. Ang dami. All right. Now, according to the principles of authentic assessment, as a recall, no, focus on what really matters. Okay, kung ano lang yung dapat. So, hindi naman lahat, no, pwede. Okay? Ensure valid indicators of student competence. So, we have to make sure that kung ano yung activity, ano yung nature, ano yung gusto mong mangyari, no, makita ang result sa activity na yun. Therefore, then dapat magre-reflect din siya sa ating criteria. Okay? Now, use assessment to support learning. Okay? When we say support learning, yun yung binanggit natin kanina na there is no delineation now of assessment and learning. So this is now a combination of both na. Okay? So we use assessment to support learning. So that's why feedbacking is very important para ma-bridge yung dalawa, yung learning at saka yung tinatawag nating assessment. And then efficient use of time, it's very important, especially in authentic assessment kasi nga it requires time. So we have to make sure that we manage our time well. And then encourage higher order thinking. Now, higher order thinking because we let our children to use their critical thinking skills, no, their creativity and others. And then incorporate feedback and improvement. Ayun nga nasabi ko sa inyo that we cannot separate now learning and assessment because we bridge that through proper and appropriate feedbacking. Okay. Now let's try to look at here the differences between traditional and authentic assessment. And I think all of us would argue, no, let's try to run through lang siya. Okay. Now, in traditional assessment, to evaluate if the students have learned the content lang. But in authentic assessment, to measure students' proficiency by asking them to perform real-life tasks. So, makikita natin yung proficiency ng bata, no, based on how he or she performed a real-world task. And then we also have measures students' knowledge of the content. Okay, again, more on content. Ang kabila measures students' ability to apply knowledge of the content in real-life situations. So, ibig sabihin, this is not just limited to knowledge of the content, no, but in authentic assessment, knowledge, applying what they learn, no, yung knowledge to real-world context. Okay, so we go beyond the border of applying knowledge. We go beyond the content, no? We apply kung ano yung nalalaman natin na content. And then requires right answer. In authentic assessment, requires high quality performance of product along with justifications and decisions, no? And then in traditional assessment, questions must be unknown to students in advance. Okay, kasi nga we have to understand, no, this part kasi nga ang traditional assessment is more on content, no, kung gaano siya ka may alam, kumbaga. But in authentic assessment, tasks that are to be judged should be known ahead of time. Rubric should be provided. So, dapat alam ng bata kung anong gagawin niya. Okay? Kailangan pa nga natin explain well, right? Another we have is the isolations of skills, focus on facts. So, wala masyadong integration of skills dito sa traditional assessment. It's more on hanggang saan kaya niya ma-memorize ang isang bagay. So, parang ganun yung focus dito. And of course, I think ang advantage perhaps ng traditional assessment is easily scored. Okay? Now, since traditional is more on isolation, Ang authentic task naman are multi-step and multifaceted. Okay? So there are a lot of procedures. And then of course, multifaceted, ibig sabihin, there are different modalities siya. Hindi lang focus on facts. No? Kanina nabanggit ko yung easily scored, yun nga ang advantage niya. Okay? But authentic assessment, it is quite a little bit complex. No? But the nice thing there is meaningful yung assessment. Why meaningful? Because this type of assessment actually, again, portraying the real world context. No? And then feedback are emphasized. So kaya nga, nagiging mas perfect yung linya ng learning and assessment now because we already bridge the gap now between learning at the same time assessment. Okay, assessment is integral part now of learning, so that is on the context of authentic assessment. Another is in traditional one-shot approach siya, but in authentic assessment, knowledge and skills are used in more than one way, you know? Like more than different ways, different modalities when you're going to apply it in real world context. And then traditional is given a score, an authentic assessment designed to give practical experience and improve future performance. No? Score lang yung makukuha mo sa traditional assessment, but in authentic assessment, this is more on meaningful experiences. No? And then, of course, traditional and then authentic assessment. I think that's very clear naman as part of the delineation. Alright. Letter D is now developing authentic classroom assessment. Okay. Now, how to create an authentic assessment? Of course, we have to look at the standards. No? What should students know and be able to do? And then authentic task, what indicates students have met the standards. Okay. Ano yung makikita natin, nasasabi natin na, okay, na-meet niya yung standards. Okay. And then what does good performance on this task look like? So, ibig sabihin, we are now writing down the different criteria. And then how well did the students perform? So, kaya magre-reflect na ngayon yung rubric. Okay? So, those are the 4 questions to ask in creating authentic assessment. Now, we have here our framework. So, this is now the line of our framework. So, we have, we mentioned about assessment tasks. We have physical context. We have social context. We have assessment or result or reform. And then at the same time, we have here the assessment criteria and standards. Okay, so we term this as the 5 dimensions of authentic assessment. So again, when we say assessment task, this is not a problem-based task. Again, pag sinasabing problem-based, dapat ang problem is connected to or meron siyang it will mirror na the real world professional activities. Okay, and the next is physical context. Assessment should reflect real work environments which are often more complex and unpredictable than classrooms. So, ibig sabihin, nilalagyan natin siya ng physical context. Okay? So, may problem kanina, then saan yung context niya. Okay? And then another is social context, since this is all about the term social being. Okay? Now, tasks should simulate real-life social interactions, including teamwork if required in professional settings. So, we really have to describe in the social context kung ano ba talaga yung relasyon ng grupo or ng members, okay? Nakasali doon, of course, no? And then we also have here assessment result form. The outcome must be measurable, involving products, performances, competencies, or presentations evaluated against set criteria. So, ano yung outcome dito right after doing that? Ano yung resulta, yung produkto, okay? And then the last one we have is the assessment criteria. So, ito yung assessment criteria na gagamitin natin doon sa previous item natin sa 5 dimensions of authentic assessment. Okay? So, please take note that there must be criteria. Okay? Those characteristics of the assessment results that are valued. That are valued, ibig sabihin that is appropriate kung ano yung activity. Okay? And another thing is the standards now, that is on the level of performance. Okay? So, na do not complicate the level of performance lang siya. Okay? Doon muna tayo sa simple. Okay? So, those are the 5 dimensions of authentic assessment. And that is the end of discussion for this chapter, for this module. Thank you so much.